Alright. It may or may not be audible. If not, it's fine. Okay. I was thinking I was going to do some concept art stuff, but I think I'll do more puzzles. Updated Unity, it seems like it's actually quite a bit faster. Selecting is still a little bit slow, but it feels like the editor's actually quite a bit faster, at least as long as you don't have a selection. I wonder how selection works without the wire. Doesn't really seem to make a big difference. Alright. So I think what I want to work on is... I already had some, but there was a set of puzzles for the dot puzzles area that I didn't really start on. Man, I need to redo that animation. It's a little rough. Not a great animation. It's not the worst, but it's pretty bad. Let's see. These are just my scattered puzzles there. I guess it doesn't really show the other panels there if I don't. That's the annoying thing. It's just like really hard to select stuff when it's running. Where are the other panels? Okay. It's just an annoying aspect of having them disable for reasons. Okay, so these are also some abandoned ones. And it'd really be nice to have like a way to like organize these and be like, okay, these are this. I mean, I guess I could just make a text label thing and just put it over it. But I mean, you can see I've got quite a bit of puzzles just kind of floating off in the ether here. It's like 85 puzzles there. I don't even know what these are. I think those are still stuff for the early area. Oh, like the dot puzzles. But I'll pull them over here and look. See what all that is. It would be nice to be able to see at least the outline of those. Okay, so need the camera a little farther away. I think this is one. Yeah, okay, I hadn't changed the actual image. So I don't know if I have the image. Let me check and see if I do. Oops. I have no idea what I just did. I think I moved that out of here is all. This hierarchy is a disaster. Yeah, I need to do that to begin with. I need to organize these. This is starting to become really annoying. Let's see. Let's go players, and then we'll put. I don't even know if I need that, but I think I do. We'll put all that in player. We'll put panels. Oops. And symbols for panels will go in there. Okay, so those are some symbol things. I got a whole lot of crap. That's all the old player stuff. Obsolete. Let's see. I need like environment art. And then this is gonna be art gallery images, which would be all these paintings here. That'll go in environment art. Puzzle hints or something like that. Got a lot of crap. See, those kind of need to go in obsolete. I don't really use cursors anymore. What this tile edge is. What is this? I don't know what that is. Just put it in panels, I guess. I don't really know what controls icons goes into, but put it inside a player for now. And that'll go in meta as well, I guess. Okay. Oh yeah, so I was looking to see whether I had that thing. So Pretty sure I don't, because it would be this two symbols thing. Two symbol wild card. Okay, so I do have a two symbol wild card sprite already. That's what it looks like. Just not really using it. Alright, so in the puzzle panel itself, excuse me. Alright, so in the puzzle panel itself, I don't think I put, well, yeah, I don't think I do. So where do I put that? It must be in the prefab. Oh man, there's a million things here. Little panel requirement overlay. Okay, so I actually just have an array here of sprites. So that's good. So I can add in, let's see. It's great that it doesn't organize this here. Let's see. So that's just not set up as a sprite. Okay, so environment overlay should have this on it now. So that's element 4. So if I go to the script, right now I have that set up on one of these. I'm gonna have to see where the player is to figure that out. But so it's this one. So let's see, 65. So 65 is the wild card one. So 65 needs to have the wild card symbol. I think that I do this. I don't need to do that. I can just put it here. Ah. So that should work. But that's really just for an art standpoint. It's not exactly necessary. Hey, it worked. So I kind of wanted to mess with these more. These these kind of dots. I thought about having them fill in with whatever one that you connect it to, but that seems a little strange. I mean, it's fine when it's solved, I guess, but you know, you have the question of like what happens when you do that, or you do something that doesn't work, right? But like, how does it handle that? Okay, so I wanted to work on more of these. I wonder what's going on with all these puzzles. Alright. So let's look at making some more dot puzzles based off of this idea. So just... There are... Hairs in my mouse. There we go. So weird, that walking animation is throwing me off. So to begin with, if I have like if I just had a bunch of wild cards, then you should be able to do that. However, like as if they were all the same, right? That's interesting because in a way that's like locking the things too, right? Because I'm enforcing a thing. Like, for example, I have this, which I don't think will work. Well, no, because you can do certain things that you couldn't do otherwise, right? I guess. I feel like that should work for the wild card ones, but I don't really know. Like, I don't feel like a wild card should care about another wild card. I don't know. It's a difficult question. Wish somebody was in the chat to pontificate with me upon this upon this design question, but I didn't really notify anybody ahead of time that I was going to be streaming, so that's no surprise. Okay. Thought something was wrong with the stream. So that's a weird question to try to answer. Is like, we know that shouldn't work because, well, do we? So that's the question, right? Because the wild card's interesting in the sense that I can connect however I like, right? But it kind of has to be just a thing that will connect with another, right? And then if you had, like, for example... That's really strange, though. Like, the way that I was thinking that would work is that, like, it kind of will kill off one of the things, right? You know? Rather than just... you can connect anything that you want to it. Why does that one work? Now that's really strange. Something's wrong if that's working, to my mind. Oh, weird. That's just a glitch. Huh. Like it's set up to wildcard, like the wildcard can wildcard with as many as it wants. Like it doesn't just wildcard with one other dot, it can wildcard with as many dots as you want. As long as they're all different colors. Now that's interesting. I don't know whether that's good, but it's interesting. It's a certainly a surprise to have that work. Because really I was thinking more like that, right? Where you have the two blue. But then that actually does wildcard with all of them, which is really strange. It must just be because it doesn't add to the count or something. Let's see. Let's see if I can find where those panels are. That's drawing panels. That's solving. This must be the check. Special wildcard dot. I'm trying to think what I'm doing here. Okay, usually I go through here. I count the number of symbols that we've got. So this is saying if our starting thing's not 0 and we go over it, okay, this is because it's testing on the wild card. It's like the wild card can be combined with anything. So in other words, like if I had this, right, then the wild card can be combined with that, right? But it has to be combined with something, right? You can't just do that. It has to be combined. Or if it's like that, then it has to be combined as well. So it's like, it's more that the wildcard dot has to be combined with other dots. So if it's not, though, okay, the other thing was I was saying if it's 65, then it counts as a dot, right? So we check the area. 65, or if it's the one that we want, then it counts. Then for some reason I'm doing if the value I'm testing is 65, then do a symbol count, which is why it works the other way. Whereas if I did like well, this is going to do the same thing, right? Because it's okay, so if I change that rule, then a wildcard should be able to combine with a wildcard or with anything else. But we shouldn't have that, but it's still doing that, which is strange. I'll try restarting the thing, but if it's just doing it based on that, that is very strange. Okay, so wildcards can combine with other wildcards, and you can only have 2. So in that sense, they act like dots, but they also can combine with another color dot. But this is weird that it wildcards out all 3. I don't really know whether I like that or not. It's like, here I go and I check. It's got one of these, then I count the symbol count, right? So the only way I would make that not work is if for this, well, that's why I did this, right? Let's see. Yeah, that was what the point was here. As if it's 65, then it should count that as 1, and that is 2, and that is 3, and then it should, because of that, be bad. But I don't understand why it's not working, unless it's the checked dot symbol list. It may be that these are getting checked first and then getting marked off and saying, well, that one's good and that one's good and that one's good, and or vice versa. I think probably that's that this is getting marked off. So I'll need to add something here that's like if that's not equal to 65, then we add it to the list. And then if it's 65, we want to check this, basically. That should hopefully handle the, yeah, okay. So that was the issue, was that when it was checking through the dots, it was like going ahead and marking it off and saying, well, that's fine because we've already marked that dot out. So rather than like this saying being good for all of these, which was kind of how it worked to begin with, which I could still do, like if I turned that off now, it should still be happy with that. I'll probably have to, oh, interesting, it's not. It's actually not this way either. That's very strange. think about that for a second. Let's see. So how does this go through here? Checks if they're within a certain range. It checks to see if the list contains the dot that we're checking, basically. And if it does, if we already checked it once, then we want to continue, right? But because the wildcards are different, we don't want it to be the same, right? So we clear the list, we go, we find everything in the area. We set the target symbol count to 1, in the last case it's 70. Then we set it to 0, which is just a thing that I'm not using really right now. So then we step through all of the tiles in the current area. And check to see if the value is the same as the dot that we're checking. So like when we get to this, we go through and see, okay, is that the same value as that, right? And it isn't. So we go to the next thing, right? Which is to check to see if it's that. So that's the reason that that happens. It's the reason it doesn't work unless I leave that on there. Okay, so now the question would still be, for me, is whether or not so they will combine with any symbol as well. So they work the same as like the black and white dots in that regard. Like they will also combine with that. So that's interesting. Just has to combine with something. Anyway, I am going to get something to drink real quick. Okay. So, yeah, there's a lot of decisions to make about how these wildcards actually work. See, because that won't work. Because it combines with these, so it counts everything. Because that just makes it work the same as like the black dot. 'Cause the black dot would work like that as well, right? But it can't combine with more than one thing either. So like in that case, that works. But that won't work because it's not combined. This is an interesting situation. I don't think that's solvable. If it was like this, though, then it would be solvable. That should be totally solved. Oh no, it's not, because this needs to have another dot. So like that can combine with one of those wild cards. If I did this, or yeah, so that would work, or even like that, right? I can't combine like that because that counts with those. I just don't know whether or not I like that. I don't know whether that's good. I guess versus the alternatives, I mean, because you could say the wildcard dot only cares about dots, or you could say it cares about anything, right? You could also say the wildcard dot doesn't mind being alone, or any number of things. Like if I don't do it that way, then it kind of feels like I might as well do the puzzle like this. Because it's kind of the same thing. It's just a restraint. Anyway, to begin with, I probably shouldn't worry about how that combines with the dice symbols and stuff. And I should instead worry about how does it combine with the other dots. Which is pretty obvious, I feel. I don't feel like a wild card should be able to combine with more than one dot. Like, I feel like if I have 3 wild cards, and it's like 63, 60, 60, well, let's do 62 and 61. Then it feels like this should be like that, right? It doesn't really make sense to me that it should also work like that, which was the way it was working earlier. Yeah. Let me repoint this mic at me. So, hopefully I'm audible. I don't really know. So it doesn't feel like it should work like that. It feels like it should work like this. Oh, how did I do that earlier? Like this. let's try to think about, I guess, with these in the abstract, what that works like. Because if I just have a bunch of these, right, then it just acts like if they were all the same color. There's no difference between that and that as far as a puzzle goes. Like whatever will work for that will also work for this. So in that respect, they're kind of disappointing, but I'm just trying to think about, like, I feel like there should be something with this. Because I had the idea earlier of having, like, you know, if you had a red dot and a yellow dot, then you'd have a red and yellow dot. And if you had that, then... But that's kind of prescriptive, right? Because then you can just connect both, right? So I guess it doesn't actually become interesting until I have a situation where they're not all different colors. Because if I have, like, for example, I do 60, 61, 62, 63, and then I have... It would be... That's the equivalent of doing this, right? Like, it's always going to be the equivalent of that. That there's like one other dot. Now I can maybe come up with an interesting way to shuffle those around. Like if I did this or something, and then I made like every one of these be a wild card. Still a lot of solutions there. So I feel like primarily it can't be something like this, because then it's just like if you had all red dots. So it's got to be at least something like this, right? In that sense, it feels more flexible than just the regular puzzles did. Oops. So then it feels like the panels should be bigger than that, or else it's not that interesting. That makes it hard to use my little solution finder, though. Oh gosh. There we go. See, that's nice there just because by default I can't just connect that, so I know that the red one of the reds has to be connected to that, just because there's that structure there. Whereas I don't know with that it has to be, other than, yeah, because like those can be connected, right? So it's like this kind of structure is interesting because one has to be connected to the other, right? Try some different things. Like if I have this structure, then that will work. Because the yellow has to be connected to that. I sort of can reason that one out. If I do that, then I can do that. Huh. I feel like in general those give me more open-ended solutions. It's kind of like it could either be red or it could either be yellow, right? So then it makes sense to add a third color, right, to the panel. But then that makes it fairly easy unless I also added more dots. So then if I add more dots, I mean more wild cards, right? Because if I have a wild card for every single one of the regular ones, then yeah. These still are fairly easy. They don't really force you to do anything. At least that one doesn't. I guess if I have a wild card for every single one, then it does. But it's interesting, but it seems like it just seems really simple. Like it seems like there's not a lot of challenge to these puzzles. Looks like I've been dropping some frames. Well, let me stop my Dropbox sync and close Steam. Oh, a sprites open. Close that. Okay, so let's start over on this. So now if I do that, you can do it all that way. And if it's this, it doesn't change anything. See, that's a situation where it's not the same, right? Because the wild card doesn't just become the thing that it would need to be. Like, it's not like it eliminates a dot. So if it eliminated a dot, you could combine like that, and it's like, well, now that is essentially a blue dot. But it's a little different. Like, it's not that it's a blue dot in this case, it's that it's a dot that will pair with any dot, but has to be separated and can only be with one other dot. So, like, there's a significant overlap with the other stuff. I'm trying to figure out exactly where the overlap is not. And obviously it's right there in the sense that that has to be separated, right? So, like, a really basic version of that would be that, right? Like, that's how it's not like it. Because immediately, like, you can't pair it with the red because this needs something to pair with, right? So that's the kind of, I guess, the template by which I have to build the puzzles, right? So there's still an even number of dots. It's not like I made puzzles where there's uneven numbers. And there is still going to be more solutions than there are with the other kinds of puzzles. So that's the reason I don't know whether I like it, is because the only thing that's challenging about it is that it's less prescriptive, right? That you look at the thing and it's like, well, I could combine that with that, or that with that, right? But in this case, it's pretty obvious that I can't combine that with that. It has to be combined with that. And so then at that point, that's just got to be combined, right? If I add like this, then you could do that or something. Then that doesn't work because then that's got 3. So you have to like separate that out and then put that in. Then you don't have enough for that. So that's probably because I have an uneven number. Yeah. Excuse me. But then to like avoid ending up with easy solutions, you just end up with more solutions, like, inevitably, feels like. If I add like 2 more wild cards, a little trickier, but it's not crazy. I don't know, I'm just not finding the wildcard thing as interesting, because it doesn't really afford me anything that the other puzzles don't, other than open-endedness. And other than I can't combine red and yellow and a wild card, right? If I like do something like this, it's an uneven number. It's interesting, but if I do that, I wonder if that's solvable. So then I have to, like, yep, that's solvable. They're almost always solvable with also... Wait a minute. Remand it for something else, right? This place, I can add that if I wanted. Huh. So then, this looks like one puzzle where it's maybe challenging. Even though, I mean, I know what it is, because it's like I have to do this, I believe. thought this had a solution. Oh, I think it's this. Yeah. So there's one kind of good puzzle using that. But it's like, it's a whole nother kind of mechanical layer that doesn't, like, didn't have anything interesting about it until I got up to a really big puzzle. Like, it feels weird that there's no 3x3 puzzle with this mechanic that's interesting. What the heck? Alright, weird. So yeah, I feel like I should, like, there should be a panel that's interesting at 3x3 or something. Like, I mean, maybe not, but that's an uneven number, so that won't work. And there's really only so many combinations you can make at this size, right? Like that, you can definitely do that. Or really anything. That one's kind of interesting, just in the abstract, but so we'll hold on to that one, just because it's abstractly interesting. Said, I feel like there should be a smallish one, but I'm just not quite clued into whatever the thing that makes it interesting is. Other than I understand in this case, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow, and 1, 2, 3, 4 red, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wild cards. So it seems like at this size, that would be like doing oops. 2 red and 2 yellow and like 4 wild cards or something. That's not terrible. Wonder how many there are though. There's like 200 solutions. Okay. Yeah. So 200 solutions, maybe not the hardest thing in the world. Oh, that's a pretty clever one. I didn't think about that. But you can literally just do it that way. Or that one. Because you can just think of them as like a regular dot, right? So that makes that easy. So I'll hold on to this one, but I don't think it's particularly good. I feel like there's another aspect to designing these, which is you need to touch them to each other. Like, doing it this way would be better, probably. Because then I mean, that I can still do it that way, but... So let's try doing it this way. So I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't think this will work because I have to pull that out. Oh, no. That's totally doable. So yeah, those do become more difficult when you kind of up the number of wild cards and you put them adjacent to a colored dot. Especially like between two. It's like if I put one right there. I'm gonna put one there. First off, I'll see if it's doable. Okay, it isn't. That's not doable either. Oh, because it's an uneven number. Okay, so that's doable. And these kind of things are interesting, because like I know I can't do that. Like some of these songs are... that's fun. So I know this is doable. That's not terrible. Got quite a few more solutions, though. This is a very noisy song. I think I'll skip that. It's pretty noisy. So it doesn't seem like there's going to be any interesting 3x3s just because there's so few 3x3 combinations that I have already have a puzzle for all of them, because it's like you can do like that and that, or you can do like this, or you can do like this, so. Yeah, kind of by the nature of how many colors you have determines like that these are, you know, this one could be a red one or this one could be, but you can like eliminate certain things like, well, this has to be a red one, right, because it's surrounded by red ones, and this one has to be a yellow one because it's surrounded by yellow ones. But then it's like, well, I've got another red one and I've got another yellow one. So then it kind of goes down to elimination again. It's like, well, I know another one has to be red, another one has to be yellow. And so how's that gonna... It's like if I combine... Anyway, it's interesting. So if I added another color, though, I feel like it would make it more prescriptive. Like if I then made this one like purple or something, I don't think it would be as good because I wouldn't be able to have the level of options to make it difficult. Oops. I'm not sure why this keeps picking the thing instead of the actual panel. It's very strange. Like it shouldn't be picking the tile, it should be picking the actual panel. It's really strange that it doesn't. Oh, there we go. It's because I had the icons turned off. Okay, so... But yeah, so if instead I made this 62, oops, 62, then that actually makes it easier, because then I know, well, okay, this has got to connect to something, and it could connect through there, but... So it's probably going to connect to that, right? It just becomes easier by adding another color, so it's actually kind of better to not have as many colors. I feel like that one was easier, though. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about these wildcard puzzles. I've been looking at them for a while, and it's like... The basic idea is kind of interesting. This puzzle is a little tricky, and this puzzle is a little tricky. But is it worth having a whole mechanic just for like 2 puzzles? I don't know that it is, so. Unless I make bigger dot puzzles, which I can. keep this one saved too, just because it's... I mean, it's not particularly better or worse than that other one, but... So at this size, seems like, based on this, I had 4 and 6, which is 10, so I need a minimum of, let's say, 6 colored dots. But I'm gonna go ahead and say 8 colored dots, seems right. And then I need of these. It just starts to feel like it just reaches a complexity threshold. You know, where it's like there's a ceiling for how potentially difficult one of these puzzles could be, and past that point they just start to feel more finicky and annoying. Let's see, because I've done 4x4s and 5x5s, but then when you do like a 6x6, it just starts to reach a threshold where it feels really irritating to deal with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That wasn't too bad. That was actually kind of doable. I didn't hate it. So that's good. It's always good when I don't hate the puzzle. When I think it's borderline tolerable. Wish I could find the solutions though. That's part of the annoyance. Like I can't even get a ballpark idea of like how easy or difficult the puzzle is, other than just kind of solving it a bunch of times. Okay, it's easier if I can just find out. Okay, are there a lot of solutions or not a lot of solutions or. Seems like that's actually a fairly easy puzzle. Actually, much easier than a typical 5x5 would be, which is interesting. If I think about what I had here, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a 4x4 area, so I could theoretically try to increase the density in that way. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I added 2 more wild cards in here, but then it might be too much because I wouldn't be able to deal with the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3. So really, like, let's say make one of them red. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Think of it as a bunch of panels overlapping. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should really have a red one instead of a yellow one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 somewhere. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now the question is whether I have an even number. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I do have an even number. So, I don't know whether this is solvable, but we'll see if it is. Should theoretically be. There's 2 there, 2 there, 2 there. Two there, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, 2 2 there. 2 there. There's only 1 there, though. So do that. And that gets 2 there. The problem is that this has to be connected to that or that one. I feel like this is solvable. Just not sure how. I don't know if it's possible. Since I don't know if it's even possible, it's really hard to know whether I should keep banging my head on it. It's almost right, except for one thing, which is this in the corner. Or maybe it isn't. Oh no, it's not right because of that one. instead moved that over there, then it's solvable. So that's a pretty nasty puzzle, I think. But I'll keep it. I'll hold on to it. 6x6 puzzles with... How many dots did that have in it? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 dots. But probably easier than if I actually specified the colors. But if I went in and specified the colors, then it would be like this. And this. And this. Say that's this and that. So if I went and specified the colors, it would be like that. That's actually probably easier because then I can combine things I couldn't combine before, so. So then I can combine all of that, right? Yeah, so that's actually not equivalent because it's easier to do it that way. Oh gosh. Ugh. How long have I been streaming? About 90 minutes. That's not too bad. So in this area currently, I think I have one like I got one really big puzzle. It's an 8x8, but it's simple because of that. And then I've got one 6x6 here. And that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Which I think is how many this other one had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4. It's got 24 in it. Now theoretically though, why is that not actually solved? Oh, because I unsolved it. Anyway, so that's great. So I know there's a solution for it, and I solved it earlier, but it's very hard, and I don't want to have to solve it again. But I feel like, at least based on what I saw, theoretically, even if it was all this, it would still be solvable. I might be wrong, but at least from what I saw, it seemed like that solution would be doable, even if it was like this. 2 there, we got 2 there, we got 2 there, we got 2 there, 2 there. We got 1 there.
There must be some way to solve the puzzle.
Excuse me. My eyes start to glaze over looking at all these red dots. Okay.
Well,
If I could solve it, then I might feel better about it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Huh. Okay. So that is doable that way. With like one color. Which is what I thought. So it should theoretically, that solution work on both of those. But this one would have more solutions potentially. Now, if I'm wrong, then that's fine. Yeah, okay, it works on both. But this one should, on the right, should have more solutions. But yeah, those high complexity ones like that are just not super. I don't love them. Don't love them. But at least that would give me like 1, 2, 3, 4 puzzles. But, you know, I prefer to have like at least like this many puzzles if I'm gonna have an additional mechanic, or like this many puzzles. Just a whole set, you know. If I don't, then it kind of just feels like I'm just layering a thing on for no real reason. I'm going to take a real quick break, and I'll be back. Alright. Hello, Ezio. How are you doing today? Oh, gosh. Ugh. I think I've had about enough of those puzzles. Just doesn't really, there doesn't really seem to be the depth there that I thought there might be. I don't know why that's like that. Oh, I guess it's already solved. So, Ezio, what I've been working on is these puzzles that use I don't know if you know about the dot puzzles, but I'll assume that you do, and if you don't, then you can ask about it. But these puzzles use these wildcard dots. And so the wildcard dots can connect with any other color dot and basically act like that dot. So like, if I got a red dot, then this is like acting like a red dot. And if I've got a yellow one connected or a blue one connected, so. Oh yeah, okay. I don't necessarily know like I don't necessarily connect everybody's like username with their actual name or their Twitter name or things like that. So it's cool that you put it up on Itch.io. I always like Itch.io, so. I don't know if it. I assume if it's buffering, it's probably on your end. But anyway, so these wildcard ones also you can connect with each other. So you can connect it with anything really. Actually, like the way they work is even if I had like another thing, you can connect it with that, which is fine. Because I also had these ones that worked that way, where you had to connect it with that. So anyway, they just have to be connected with another symbol. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. So those are kind of interesting, but they just didn't really produce the depth I was hoping for. Like, that's kind of the extent of what I got out of them, and they only got interesting once I started making really big panels. And then the complexity is really just what made it interesting. It wasn't really surprising. Okay. Wasn't really that surprising, so. So what I was thinking about doing was something that actually you had suggested, Ezio, to me to do, which I might have already started. So I was doing some weird stuff up here, which was to try to do some bigger panels for the dice puzzles. Let's see, where is... I moved the player up here. I don't know exactly what's out here. Okay, those are the walk around ones. So it looks like I was doing that. So I want to do some bigger ones than 5x5s, which I think are the largest I have, so I'm gonna try that. I'm not sure how well it'll go, but so let's try just to begin with. Let's do I don't know, let's do like a 7x7 or something outrageously large. I don't know how well that'll work, but weird. I actually haven't had many problems with Twitch, particularly after Amazon bought it. It's gotten a lot better. Okay, so I have some 6s. Obviously, if I do that, then I can just make some kind of blob. I don't know how big it's going to be. Okay. Put like a -6 in the middle, though. It's again just going to be a blob. See what that looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That might be more, more than there are actual tiles in the thing. Calculate that. So on 7 by 7 we've got 49 tiles. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 by 6. Yeah, I think that's... Yeah, it's too many. It's too many. Oh, hello, William, and thanks for the host. I hope you're doing well, William. William's in the late game stages on his game, Manifold Garden. Panels of sprites like Space Invaders. I mean, yes. I don't really always know what to what to answer certain questions like that, because like I've thought about a lot of things. Some things I've done, and then some things I have tried and don't work, and some things I've tried and do work, but I don't necessarily want to spoil them. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that this makes more interesting puzzles with this mechanic to make them just bigger. It just feels weird. Oops. There. It's also hard because I have to keep track of making sure I don't have too many of these. Got too many again. Let's see, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This song's really just instrumental. Switch something else. It's just kind of overly ambient. I don't know whether the music is audible, but okay. Yeah, it's definitely not easy. And there's a lot of flexibility, it feels like. Part of why this is maybe not so great is because I might have too much. Like I've only got one free dot. It's just pretty easy to cluster those. It's always legitimate to start learning game development. Or game design, I guess, but yeah. Alright. So let's try some other things. My concern is it's going to be kind of similar to with the dots puzzles that I was making bigger panels, where it's not really better in the sense that it's not more enlightening. There's nothing that comes out of it that you're like, oh, I got this really high level insight. It's more like that just took a long time, and at a certain point I started to just kind of be poking around. Like that's sort of what happens, it feels like. It's also very hard to keep track with how many I have. I guess it would be nice to have something that just tallied it up and told me whether I had too many dots, but because otherwise I have to be like, okay, let's see, 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5 is 45. Okay, it's still doable. Sure, but I mean, like, for example, if I have 6, but instead of having 6, if I had 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, you start to actually make something that's easier because you've specified more tiles that have to be lit up. Like if I have 6 1s or like 3 2s, then I've specified more tiles that have to be lit up. And so in some sense it's more prescriptive of where to begin than it was to just have 6. I mean, it gives you less freedom, and maybe there's a weird way that you have to do it, but yeah, as far as my reasoning goes on that. Plus it's just hard when you're solving it because you have to add up a lot of tiles. I don't know. Like if I instead go 3 and then put a 2 there, and then it's like, okay, well now I know it has to be like that, right? Or if I make this a 2 and then I put like a 1 over here, then I know, okay, well, it's gotta be like that, or like that maybe. Well, it can't be like that because that's gonna be there, right? I don't know. I feel like there's definitely some things to be done there. I just don't know. So let's try this. Let's see whether that's theoretically doable. Which again is time consuming on these. Okay, it's theoretically doable. There's a lot of these clustered together, so those all need to go. We know that's got to be enclosed as a 5 shape. And we know that's either got to go that way or the other way. So let's just say like that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 more. And we got 6 there. We got 2 here. And we got another 5 shape. Yeah. Which it could just be that I've done a lot of them, and so I don't find it that hard. It's just kind of time consuming. If I made this 4 or something, that might make it a little trickier. I mean, it's not a terrible thing. I'm just... One thing that this did make me think of, though, is because I have these these puzzles in this area that do the walls, right? And most of these are 5x5s. It might actually be nice to have a big puzzle that you have to solve with a bunch of these, and you have to also make the path through it. Like, that might be a way to make it more interesting, because you'd have an additional layer on top of it. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of solutions to these puzzles. You know, there's certain things that you know off the bat. Like, that's going to be in there, right? So let's, like, move that down. And, yeah. But it's still not going to be that hard, because, like, if you really think about it, you can kind of just say, okay, well, I've got this many here to connect here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I've got 1, 2, and then that will get me down here. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's actually, like, probably more than I need. But, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've lost 5. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got 1. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should be theoretically doable. No, I don't think multiple solutions is bad either. It's just, Yeah. The thing I'm wondering about is like building a path through a large puzzle like this might be interesting. Because then by default you wouldn't be able to go through it, and you'd have to like find the path, but also connect everything. Yeah, now the hard part here is I have all these on this side that can't really get connected in that way. Not if this guy's at the bottom, anyway. Because if I'm thinking like you have to enter at the bottom and exit at the top, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would almost get me there just on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it only gets me that far. If that was like a, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I had a I mean, like I said, I don't think multiple solutions is bad either. It's more trying to make puzzles where you think about interesting things while you're solving it, right? Hello, Ezio. Your test is working. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, 19. So that's doable. And then you would have a, well, let me see. How do I get the background to hide? Here we go. So then you would have a basically a thing you could walk through like that. So that's interesting, at least. Yeah, it's like, I mean, you always feel a little bit rewarded for solving the puzzle, but there's a couple things that kind of have to happen there for it to feel good. One is you definitely have to know that you're close before you solve it. It doesn't feel very good to just be poking around and then solve the puzzle. There has to be a way that you're thinking about the puzzle that is interesting or different from ones that you've done before. Because that's the other thing, is like, I don't even know if that's a good idea, because there's a whole bunch of these kind of puzzles here where you're doing that exact same thing that I'm talking about there. This one's on the right here is a fairly simplistic version of that. But yeah, there's a bunch of those. And maybe a disordered mess like this that you have to work through is good, but I don't know. Certainly interesting in a way. Yeah, the possibility of multiple solutions to get other places. I've already done that back down here. Like this is a puzzle that you can solve 2 ways, and you actually have to solve it both ways to get through. This is a puzzle you can solve 4 ways, and yeah. So there's I've already done those. It's more about trying to figure out how to end the area in a way that feels satisfying, because like this is the end of the area, and it's kind of just, well, here's some harder puzzles, I guess, and then the end, I guess. I don't know. And I haven't really figured out what to put at the end that makes it feel satisfying and feel like, oh yeah, that was a really good way to end the area, and gave me, you know, like another way to think about it or something. And one idea that I'd had was to try to make some kind of maze, and then there'd be puzzles that were part of it, and you'd have to navigate the maze and then resolve the puzzles to get through the maze, because you wouldn't be able to just go through the maze like straight. You'd have to like go back around and then like resolve a puzzle and then go back around and stuff. But mazes are kind of annoying, so I don't really love that idea. And maybe it's fine just to have these different puzzles here. As long as like the context was changed to where it felt like you knew that you were at the last bit and getting pretty close to solving it, maybe that's okay, but I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of the woe of designing a puzzle game, is you have to keep it interesting, especially a puzzle game like this. That can be tricky, just because on the surface it seems boring, and so I have to make sure that the overall structure of the game, it feels like you're going to different areas and thinking about the puzzles in very different ways. And I think I've done an okay job of that. It's just for a while I felt like the end of this area could be a little better, because it's like it's pretty good up until the very end, where it just kind of feels like, well, here's some more puzzles, and I guess there you go. I don't really know what to do about that. I could just restructure it at some point to where instead of it like splitting up here with these types of puzzles, like that gets saved for the end, and so you actually just keep solving these for longer. But I also like to break up the monotony at like maybe a halfway point through an area, so that you get some more interesting things there. I don't know. Like really big puzzle is one way to end an area, but it's not necessarily the most interesting way, because you're like, well, I did a really big puzzle, I guess I'm done now. It's just not, I guess the way to put it is it's really obvious. It's like a very obvious end. Anyway, to Ezio's point about having a tile that's broken and you don't know what it was or is obscured, I've thought about that too. I thought about having some panels where tiles are like obscured by something, and so you just don't know what they are. Like, you know, I can already do that. There's this thing that's built in called secret tiles. And that's just basically how it works, right? Is that there's tiles that are missing, but they still are part of the puzzle. That can work in certain ways. And I'd like to make it work better than I have, because the only spot I've used it right now, which, this is, of course, spoilers, all spoilers, but the only spot I used it right now was for this panel here. Where the kind of joke of it, so to speak, is that these squares here count as tiles that have been lit up. But it's not a great implementation of that idea, because you don't actually have to figure that out to solve the puzzle, because the puzzle's so small. It's pretty easy to just kind of mess with it and solve it, and then maybe you look at it and go, why was that right? And realize, oh, okay, like, because those were part of the panel. But so that's interesting, and I'd like to do more of that, or do it in a better way, but I'm just not really sure exactly how to do that. That's the kind of things that's going to come more when the art treatment happens on the game, because then you can fit more things in that are that kind of thing. You know, you can just have something that's like painted on the wall or something. It's like a weird thing that's painted on there. Yeah. So I have ideas, I'm just not really sure what's a good one to end this particular area on that like fits in with the theme of the area and all that. Because really the theme of the area, I guess, is like summing up things and like adding together stuff. And it really feels like, it just really feels like it has to be something really different. But I worry about making things too different, because then you kind of eliminate possibilities for the overall end game. But you know, one idea that I could have is I could have like a thing that you could actually like push around in the environment, which is not a thing I've had in the game, but it's a thing that could be put in. Or you could move around somehow, maybe by solving another panel you move the thing around, I don't know. And then you use that to like solve the puzzle because you're pushing the things around. Then there's the other thing that I haven't done with these kind of panels, is I haven't made one, because it's just implementation detail, I guess, that would be required. I haven't made one where, let's say these are walls, right, and they're raised up, and this is lowered down. I haven't made one that you have to go through, and then you have to like go around, and then you climb up some stairs or something, and then you have to walk on the high part of it. I haven't done one like that, which might actually be interesting. Not really sure in what way that would work though.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is it's like it feels like it has to be something that gets a little bit more meta about the puzzles. I'm just not really sure what that could be. I don't really like just the push around blocks thing so much. I mean, it's okay, but it's like adding a whole nother mechanic to the game. And I don't really feel like I need to do that. I feel like most of the mechanics should be things that directly relate to the main basic mechanics. And like I do have like these walk around panels that you walk on, right? So I got those, and then I've got the click on panels. Yeah, it's better to have, like, it just feels rough to be like, okay, I guess now I'm pushing things around, because then you start to be like, okay, am I going to push stuff around in the rest of the game? I haven't done that at this point. It seems kind of, feels random. Whereas it's better, like, if I want to have something where you're moving something around, then have you, like, use your normal mechanics to do it. Not bad. I don't necessarily like sitting here just thinking about what to do, though, because there's only so much I can think of. But I don't really have an idea for that area yet, as far as how to end it. But I feel like something like that would be good. At the very least, the panel that you have to solve once that works multiple ways. Like the white and the black tiles have to be in a specific configuration at the same time. That's not a terrible thing. Could probably be done with this. I don't technically have that implemented to where you can, to where like I can reverse the panel to where you're walking on the other part. But I feel like that could be visually communicated okay. At least with an art treatment. I don't have the art treatment right now. Right now it's like very basic. So I think I'll go with this panel for now just because it might work. And it's better to put something in here than nothing. So let's see, how exactly would you be able to do that? It'd be sort of like, God, camera by default is like zooming in way more than I want it to. I forget what my camera stuff is. I think it's there, I'll just set that to 10. So if I put like a wall around there, if I build the wall around it like this, on that side and that side, and then I go up here, and then let's say there's a little staircase or something, and then like you would walk out onto this wall here, maybe? And then the wall itself would be like a staircase here. So that would kind of be like that. I guess I'd have to have like a little thing that you go around or something, a staircase that you climb up, and then you walk back down over here and onto this. I feel like it can't be there though. I feel like it's definitely something without an art treatment that doesn't really work. I haven't really got the art working for this stuff yet. So I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to try to make these things like raise up, actually. Which I do with these. They raise up and lower. But not with these. Oh gosh, let's see how long I've been streaming. 2.5 hours. That's a long time. I mean, that's kind of interesting, I guess, but just to walk up on the walls is kind of interesting, but I don't know. What else we got? I don't know if I want to implement that feature right now. Especially because I'm not in love with the idea to begin with. It just feels really contrived just to add that in there. It's like a lot of work just to do that one thing. Like, it doesn't feel as bad as like if I had a panel that you could push around would feel, but it still feels like a lot of work for one thing. But if I don't do that, I don't have anything really more that I want to work on today. other than I wanted to look at those two things, which is kind of like ending this area and then ending the area down here. Like, those are the two things I wanted to look at. Is like, how do I end these areas? It's like, I don't know. This one's worse just because it's a big bag. And it kind of falls into that problem at the end where it's just a big old bag of puzzles. It's like they have some different ideas, but there's not really like the interacting with the environment or anything involved there either. Yeah, it's like is stuff that's hard to think about, and it's kind of like there's not. I don't really have a basis for it yet, and since I'm making this game, it's like very interconnected and all that. Anytime I add something in one place, I have to reconsider the rest of the game. You know, like if I have these walk around things, it's like I have to say, okay, well, where can I use those? And in what ways can I use those? It could be something to add to the dot puzzles areas, some walk around puzzles with dots, but I don't really know how many things there could be there because yeah, especially for puzzle games, that's kind of the work involved, is just like if I add one thing, like now here's some panels that you push around, I have to think, okay, well, where else are you going to push around puzzles in the game? Or, oh, here's panels that you walk across the top of, okay, where else am I going to use that? Am I going to use it anywhere else? If I'm not using it anywhere else, why am I not using it anywhere else? Because that's like another question. Which wasn't as much of a question when I designed this area, because it was like I didn't have another area with symbols on the panels yet. But now that I do, then it's like, okay, well, should I have panels here that are like walls that you have to solve and go through, right? Or should I not? Should I keep that in one area so that it feels unique about that area? But then what does it have to do with that area? So I have to think about all these things. Yeah, I know. I'm just sitting here talking. If I, it's something Steve Swink said. If I just talk about the game enough, I won't have to make it. So, I think mostly with this, it's not that I don't think it's worth doing. It's just I don't think it's that much more interesting than just thinking about the low lit areas, at least for this panel. It's like maybe there's a panel that it would be more interesting that way, but it's like I already have panels, so you have to solve them multiple ways. So you like solve it one way and then you solve it a different way to go somewhere else. And this is kind of just an extension of that, in that like, well, I need to modify the solution that I already had. So then you kind of need a panel with a lot of solutions. But you don't want to have too many solutions because then it's too easy. Well, I scrapped a symbol set already. I mean, at least I haven't really developed it much more. And it wasn't really that it wasn't deep, it's just that it didn't do much other than modify existing puzzles, and it was very difficult to teach it. I can show you that. I think it's still in here. Just duplicate this panel. Pretty sure it's still in here. Yeah. So I had these symbols. And these were really hard to teach, but the way they worked was you had these little yellow and blue little triangles here or whatever, and there's 4 of them, and those represent basically the 4 neighboring tiles of that tile, and which ones are lit up yellow determines how many need to be the same as the tile that it's on. I think in this case that's not doable because I think off the grid counts as not the same, so you can't actually have these at the edge, but yeah. So if that was instead one of these, it would work. Which is kind of an interesting puzzle type, but it's very hard to teach. And it just didn't generate a lot of things that were really interesting to think about when you were solving the puzzle. You kind of just thought about, okay, is this one alright? Is this one alright? And for every puzzle there was like, the inverse was also a solution, and that's interesting. I'm somewhat struggling to see how that would really work in a way that was challenging, because it feels like for example, if you're saying I have like this kind of situation, right? And you say, okay, we'll connect that, and then this one will be at height of 1, and then that's height of 2, and then that's height of 3, and then that's height of 4, or whatever. Wait, what is going on here? I've screwed something up. Oh, I've got not enough. There we go. Ugh. I had to sneeze, but it went away. And so, say you walked on that. Well, first off, it's like, is it just the tile that has the symbol on it that's that tall? Because in that case, they all have to be right next to each other. In which case, that's not really that interesting. You know, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless the player's somehow manipulating the symbols that are on the panel, which is a possibility, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because then you just kind of have to do this number. right? And then you can climb up the stairs, right, at that point. But as far as manipulating the tiles that are on the panel, I don't really know how that would work. Huh, there's one thing, I guess. Say I had a panel like this, that had nothing on it, right? It's just like this. And wherever I put that, well, the issue then, right? Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about with the staircase thing, but I can't think of any way to, like... I can't think of any way that makes that make sense, because I'd basically just be constructing the staircase in the panel itself, because it would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever, right? In the panel. Connected. And the player could walk up it. But there's no creativity on the part of the player there. It's just a matter of putting enough tiles in there to solve it or whatever, right? Plus, then you have to ask, okay, what about all these tiles that don't have a symbol on them? What height are those at? Alright, see ya, Implody. Thanks for hanging out. Be sure to follow the channel, because I'll be probably streaming on a regular basis for a while. So, maybe not every day. I don't want to commit to that, but definitely a lot, very frequently. But anyway, see ya. But anyway, the thing I was thinking... but I don't know how you would do it. But let's say I had a panel like this, and there was like a 1 here, like down here on the wall or something below it, and then I could put any one dot on here, right? And that would solve the panel, right? And then I had another one that was like a 2, and I can put like any 2 on it. Anywhere I want, I can put 2. I can't separate them, but I have to make like a 2 shape. I mean, I could do a 1 on the 2, right? And you just are defining where the symbols are. But I was thinking that you would put where the 2 shape was. Like that or something. But it might be better just to put symbols. Yeah. Trying to think if I have any way to do that as is. Let's see. Like with these, yeah, you could do that here. With like a floor panel. because that's how that works by default. If you have a panel that, like, if you had a 2 on here, and then you just did that and it's solved, right? But if it's just like this, then wherever you hit is solved. So that would work. And then I could have that feed into something else, right? So that's one thing. It's one idea. Let's see. Another weird idea would just be like putting the 1 or putting the 2 on there, and then you have to count up or something. That would be a weird thing. I'm not sure what you're saying, Ezio, because initially it seemed like you were agreeing with me, but now it seems like you think that that's a bad idea. Seemed like a fine idea to me, at least. Does the lights out thing work anymore? No, I guess it doesn't. I don't think any of these other ones work anymore. Oops. One of those panels step on multiple heights. To build the path, you have to step on the top from the same height. I don't really know what that means. Because like already you have multiple heights on these things. That's how I express what's gonna happen when you step on a tile. Seems like locked tiles don't work on here anymore. Yeah, but I mean, I was talking about toggling a tile to place a symbol, right? Like, that's what I was talking about, was like that you'd have a panel that that you would do like this, and that would place a symbol on another panel. No, I mean, I don't know how you would place symbols on the panel otherwise. That's the thing I was saying. Unless I create a whole ad hoc interface that's different from the regular interface. Then this starts to feel like those latter stages of English Country Tune, where you had to build a puzzle, which those were really annoying, but interesting in a way. If I do it on the floor, then you can only put one. And if I do it on the wall, then you could put as many as you wanted. It's kind of interesting. It requires a lot of infrastructure to do that, though. If you're talking about, like, say I do this and then it's like affecting another wall or something, right? Somehow, symbols. Like it's affecting the symbols on another panel. And then it's one of these wall ones or something, and it affects the height. But then if it's affecting the height, then I have to go back and I have to make sure that I offer all these puzzles that it's affecting the height, and that that's consistent across all the puzzles, and that it doesn't allow you to cheat or anything, or if it does, that I mean for it to allow you to. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it might be interesting to think about at least. Yeah. But yeah, if I was just having that wall panel, let's say, the question is still, like, why I don't just do like that, right? Like, why would it matter where I place the tiles? So I don't know about that yet. I'm just trying to think of, you know, because all I'm doing is placing down like a 1, 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. It is a question of why it matters. Why does it matter where they are? Because they all would have to be adjacent, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to take a brief break, and then I'll come back and I'll keep thinking about this. All right. I could have luck tiles. I'm thinking though. I'm trying to think about what makes sense for the area and what like the theme of the whole area is, in a way, because that's kind of the thing that helps. In some ways, it feels like. In terms of figuring out what kind of works, I guess. And I've mostly not thought about it too much. I've just kind of been like, this is the mechanic, and here's some puzzles that use the mechanic. But like the mechanic's about area, and it's about kind of positive and negative space, right? And the counting that area. Now I don't necessarily know. I still don't necessarily know what that means for making a end thing, but I don't dislike the idea of adding up multiple panels in some way. You know, you say you have a panel that's like the one thing, right? Like if you have the panel that's like where you're specifying where's one gonna be, and then like the next panel's gonna already have that tile lit up, right? And then you specify where 2 is, right? So like the next panel, based on what you did there, is gonna be like that, right? It's gonna be locked on 1, and then you put another one down, right? So that's a little ad hoc, but it's kind of what you would do. But I'm just trying to think, because it's about positive and negative space. An area. I don't know. I'm butting up so much against kind of one of my, just actually well, one of Jonathan Blow's actually guidelines, I guess, which is like trying to avoid contrivance, and it's like the more things I layer on there, the more contrived it is, but I have to weigh in thinking about it, which is, this is a terrible stream, but I mean, hopefully it's interesting to you, Ezio, since you're also thinking about it, but it's not a lot of work stream, it's more of a thinking about stuff stream. But you know, if I'm building a whole elaborate thing, if I then say, well, okay, now it's going to be like a thing you solve, and then another thing, and then that adds the solutions together, and then where they overlap, it makes another thing, goes in. I have to weigh that against how interesting I think that will actually be. And the problem is I just don't think it will be that much more interesting for how weird it is. Because still as a player, you're coming up and, you know, you're doing your, oh, it's a panel and I'll solve it. And it's one thing to have to do like I have to do a solution that solves all like 3 panels or something like that, right? Because I could do something like that, where the same pattern has to work on like 3 different panels. It's another thing to do like I have to solve them and they overlap or something. Anyway. But I don't even know whether the like, here's a bunch of panels and they all have the same solution is great even. I don't know. I feel weird streaming when I'm just thinking about this stuff, so I might cut the stream off and keep just thinking about what I want to do here. But anyway, not a terribly productive stream, but there's certainly a lot that I've thought about. But I need to do some more work that's stuff that I can stream. I'm just not sure what I have to do right now other than artwork. There's an area that I want to work on that I haven't gotten very far on, but I don't necessarily want to spoil that, and maybe I will at some point, but anyway. I'm actually getting kind of sleepy. But thanks for joining, and I will see you around. Obviously follow the channel if you want to be notified whenever I go live. But I'll see you around, and thanks for joining.